Flower power, Woodstock, the Merry Pranksters, Haight-Ashbury. The 60s were an era of free love and psychedelics. But the counterculture didn't necessarily happen organically. LSD was discovered in a Swiss lab and was then commandeered by our intelligence agencies at the dawn of the Cold War. American intelligence believed LSD could be used to brainwash communists, to control people's thoughts, and as a truth serum during interrogations. The CIA started a secret project, MK Ultra, where Americans were unwittingly dosed with psychedelic drugs and studied. Addicts, hippies, mental patients were given large quantities of LSD, even soldiers. Here's someone who participated in the psychedelic operation. Watch.
I took the injection, but I didn't like it. And it really did create a poisonous psychosis. The room became very distorted, and I thought my bones were all melting. And I saw the squirrels outside, and I thought, they're not the squirrels, I'm the squirrel. I'm in this cage, and I can't get out. And I started to throw myself from side to side in the room. I don't know, it was like some kind of funny hell I'd fallen into, and I couldn't get out. And I just felt that my life was threatened. I could never go back to what I'd been.
The CIA experiments with LSD continued through cutouts. Millions of dollars were directed to America's top research universities. And for a time, the United States was pioneering the boundaries of human consciousness.
You can say that the CIA played a major role in bringing LSD to America. And when we think of the counterculture in the 60s, I think we can think a lot of the CIA and say, by mistake, the CIA brought LSD into this country and created a research industry.
But LSD became so widespread and abused for hedonistic purposes that it discredited the peace movement, which was kind of what the CIA intended. And although LSD was proving to provide substantial clinical benefits for alcoholics or depressed people, people with PTSD, the drug was never allowed to be brought to market by pharmaceutical companies because the American government's war on drugs and Cold War agenda more important. But after decades of criminalization, LSD is seeing a resurgence therapeutically, but is still struggling to escape its cultural taboo. Author of Tripped, Nazi Germany, the CIA, and the Dawn of the Psychedelic Age, Norman Ohler joins us now. Norman, describe these radical experiments on Americans by the Central Intelligence Agency.
You're right, it's absolutely crazy what happened. And where did this come from? It actually came from the Nazis, because the Nazis were the first ones to do psychedelic research in the concentration camp of Dachau. And when the Americans liberated the camp and liberated Germany from National Socialism, they found these reports done by the SS, and they thought, if the Nazis are so into using LSD as a potential weapon, maybe we can also try to use it now in the Cold War against the Soviet Union.
Was LSD ever shown to be useful for interrogations, brainwashing, or not?
Not really. I mean, it proved to be useful to make someone extremely insecure, because if you dose someone unwittingly, that person suddenly has a very strong effect in the brain and doesn't really understand what's happening, so you can use that as an advantage in an interrogation. But LSD never proved to be that magic key with which you can unlock the mind of someone else. It actually has very, very, very different effects, in fact.
Interesting chapter in your book. You suggest that John F. Kennedy may have experimented with LSD, and that may have moved him away from the Cold War into more of a peace messenger.
I mean, this is speculation. We know for a fact that he had a very intimate relationship with Mary Pinchot, who was in the White House quite a lot, and they were seen smoking weed together. And it is a fact that Pinchot then received LSD from none other than Timothy Leary, the Harvard professor who was the LSD guru. She visited him saying that she has a very important friend and he would like to try it. She didn't say JFK, but very important friends. She received the LSD in April '63 from Leary, and then a little bit later, like a few weeks later, Kennedy gives his famous peace speech at the American University and presents ideas that are completely unusual for him, because before that he was quite a Cold War warrior. He was into the arms race, and suddenly he talks about that we and the Russians, we all have the same, you know, we live by the same principles. We all love our children. We all share the life here on planet Earth. So he kind of talks hippie-esque in a way. So it seems like that Mary Pinchot influenced him. We don't know whether it was through LSD that she gave him, or whether it was just lovemaking, or whether it was just the weed, but there was, for sure was a change within the mind of JFK, and he probably got in touch with LSD, I would say.
What are the main therapeutic uses, in your opinion, for LSD?
Well, I studied it quite thoroughly, because while I was researching for the book, my mother developed Alzheimer, and we discussed it in the family. I had read a report that LSD actually stimulates the same synapses in the brain that Alzheimer degenerates. So LSD has the opposite effect in the brain, and it seems like it can help against dementia, so we decided to actually use it in our family, and the results were quite stunning, I have to say.
I could think of a few people who could use some doses, but I'm not a doctor.
I was thinking about the same thing, but I don't want to say any names right now, but it certainly seems to be a cognitive enhancer.
All right, Norm, thank you so much. The book is Tripped. I enjoyed it. It's just an incredibly fascinating time in American history while we were just doing some wild things.
It's not about justice, it's not about agenda, it's not about mobilizing people, it's about dialing for corporate dollars. These two parties have sold the U.S. government and the American people to the highest bidders.